Okay, so we are here with Alfie Moore. Hello.
Hello.
So we're just going to ask you a few questions. How long have you been a stand-up comedian?
I'm quite late to it actually. Mine's a bit of a midlife crisis thing. I started about just under 6 years ago, so I was quite late to it.
Because, sorry, you were saying that you are in your gig, police. You were
Yeah, police. Still technically a cop. I'm on a career break. I've not been to work as a cop for 2 years, so that's all frozen while I take a sabbatical. But yeah, I took up stand-up about 6 years ago when I was a full-time cop, just as a hobby, and it just took off really. So it ended up taking over and becoming my full-time work.
So where do you get all of your material?
A lot of it, as you've heard, is sort of police-based stuff, which I'm very fortunate to have a job like the police. If I got like an ordinary boring job, if I was a plumber or something, it probably wouldn't be as interesting, and I wouldn't have picked up the funny stories that I've picked up just going to work. So I'm blessed really. I've been lucky.
Okay, so we all know that everybody wants a really good reception as a comic, but what do you do if people don't laugh?
If people don't laugh, you work harder. When you first start, I think your shoulders can drop when you first start and you're not getting the response, and I think you rely on that response. Certainly I did when I first started, and if I wasn't getting anything back, I got discouraged and I get smaller and quieter and lose confidence, and that'd be the downward spiral. But I think as you get more experience, then when it's quiet, you are grafting, you're working hard, and the little voice in the back of your head saying, what can you do? Try something different, get bigger, make it bigger, make it funnier, make it snappier, step on the gas, and you work harder.
So you kind of use it to your advantage then at some points, because
yes,
you can learn from it. And
I think you learn from the quieter rooms. You don't learn if you're just killing it every time and having a great gig every time. You'll soon get complacent and lazy. I think the quieter rooms where you have to work hard are the ones that you're learning.
Fair enough.
So how do you deal with hecklers?
How do you deal with hecklers?
The awful hecklers.
Well, I think when you first start, you're frightened of hecklers a little bit. Everybody, the natural response, and then you'll have some block put down lines like, "Oh, it's hello, Dad. What are you doing in here?" or something. But they're never as good as being in the moment. So I think that the way to deal with hecklers is to listen to what they've said and to respond appropriately. Give yourself a minute. Don't panic. I think when you're new, you think, I've got to come back with something quick to look sharp. But I think, listen to what they've said, give yourself a minute, trust yourself, and then come back with something. Don't come back with a sort of stock put down. Come back with something in response to what they've said. And the audience tend to appreciate that. And you'd be surprised, thinking on your feet, that when that works, it can be really funny.
And I suppose then you come off as the better person as well.
Yeah, I think my role is that I'm not aggressive. I suppose that's what I learned from the police is the person you're dealing with, they choose a level of aggression.
Yeah.
So you never up the ante because you always end up looking bad. And I think that's the same for a comedian. If somebody's heckled something and then you go OTT and you're aggressive back, I think you lose the sympathy of the audience and they become the victim. And so I think it's important to try and, if you can deal with them and not be aggressive, then I think that's a smart play.
Fair enough.
So who inspired you into comedy?
$1 million question here.
Well, I've got sort of comedy heroes from the past. I used to like Les Dawson, who's no longer with us, and people like that. I can remember watching comedy with my dad, but I've never really seen a lot of live comedy. The first live comedy club I went to was with my wife 6 years ago, and as soon as I saw it, I thought I'd like to have a go at this. So I've not sort of been contaminated by a lot of comedy, if you like. So a lot of comedians go and watch a lot of comedy and slowly build up to stepping on the stage. I just went straight on the stage and just did my thing. So from the past, I'd say Les Dawson. I think modern comics I like Lee Mack, Sean Locke, Jonathan Richardson. I like those people.
So this one is putting you on the spot a little bit.
Please do.
What is your favourite knock-knock joke?
My favourite knock-knock joke.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It is putting me on the spot, and I can't actually think of a single knock-knock joke. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Alfie.
Alfie who?
Alfie, I can't think of a knock-knock joke more. How bad is that? I don't.
for improvement, is
Yes.
what I'd say.
Yeah.
Always,
Yeah.
always.
Okay, leading on from that, actually, what's the best joke that you've ever written, in your opinion?
The best joke I've ever written. I actually quite like the dining room one, which is a silly one that I did
Yeah.
tonight, which I'll repeat for you. Is I saw Jonathan Ross on TV, and it was a programme about earliest childhood memories, and he said that his earliest memory was actually inside his mother's womb. Turns out it was his mother's dining room. That's silly,
Still
but
makes me
it's I don't know. I like it.
Can I just say what one of my favourite material from tonight was the head.
The head, yeah. A head's a true story as well. That's what I mean about the cop stuff. I've been fortunate. It's that the head's a true story. Not all the words spoken, and I didn't tell that. That happened about 3 years ago, and I started telling it about a year ago because I thought that is too dark for comedy. But the first time I did it, people loved it, and I've told it, most gigs ever since.
And I suppose it's how you deal with that joke, because obviously there's a right way to say it, and you deal with it right, so then it's all right in a way.
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot of humour. You see, if you can build a tension, if you can make people think you're going to be inappropriate, and you can do that by raising a dark subject, or if people think, oh, this is going to go, he's talking about the Muslim faith, or he's talking about race, and oh, it's going to go wrong. That tension can act in your favour, because if you find a clever way out of it, not only have you got the laughter because it's funny, you've got everybody's relief, which gives you extra. Everybody thinks, oh, thank God we weren't put in this embarrassing position. So I think if you can somehow build a tension, and talking about dark subjects can do that. I'm fortunate with the head, I think. I'm guessing that because it's a head, people don't assume it's a person anymore. I think if that was a body, I might not be able to do it. Because it's a body part, a head's maybe stop being a person. So maybe I get away with it like that.
So, at school, were you the class clown or the funny guy?
I was, yeah. I didn't get a lot done at school at all. I was the class clown, yes, that was always messing about and wasn't very academic and never got any qualifications, and that was my schooling.
Are you using it to your advantage now, though?
Yes.
So it's all good.
And finally, how did your first ever gig go?
First ever gig went really, really well. It was surprisingly well. I didn't prepare. I entered a competition which required 10 minutes of material. I got offered a spot the day before, so I took a day off work. I wrote 10 minutes of material, went and did the 10 minutes. And my wife still says it's my best ever gig. I can't remember a thing I said, I just blanked. I had too much to drink because of the nerves. Then I just went blank. I can remember the speaker breaking, and I did something with the speaker. I can't remember what. But I remember that everybody was patting me on the back and thought I'd been doing it ages, and nobody could believe it was my first time. So my first one went really well. I mean, I was soon to get my backside kicked after that, but the first one went really well.
That's actually quite interesting, because all the other comedians that we've kind of interviewed have kind of said the same thing, that the first gig went really, really well.
Yeah.
So then you're obviously on a high, you're like, oh, I can do anything, and you get that push, but then the second one doesn't go so well. So that's quite interesting.
I think that's part of it. My first two went really well. They were both in a competition, and I went through against an experienced act, because the one act went through and it was me. The next round, one act went through and it was me. And the first two, and the third one, I absolutely died a death, a horrible death on stage. And I think part of that was because I was getting a bit confident because the first two had gone well. And an audience can sense everything about you. They can sense confidence, and if it's misplaced or you look a bit cocky, they will punish you.
You win some and you lose some, though, don't you? At the end of the day.
You do.
Okay, so next we've got some quick fire questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
So I'll just go through it. Beach or city?
Beach.
Domino's or Pizza Hut?
Domino's.
Elton John or Alice Cooper?
Alice Cooper.
Tommy Cooper or Morecambe and Wise?
Morecambe and Wise.
Bungee jump or roller coaster?
Oh, I'm frightened of both. I'll bungee.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Cheese and onion.
Oh. Mashed or roast?
Mashed.
Push bike or motorbike?
Motorbike.
Monty Python or Friends?
Monty Python.
Strong or weak tea?
Strong and milky. Please.
That's hard.
Hero or villain?
Hero.
Catwoman or Wonder Woman?
Catwoman. Every time. She's got something going, that girl.
You didn't even need to think that one.
No, she's
Straight
got something
there.
going.
Ghostbusters or Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Sports car or 4x4?
Sports car.
Happy or sad ending?
Happy.
Tattoos or piercings?
Tattoos.
Popeye or Desperate Dan?
Popeye's annoying. Desperate Dan.
Sunday roast or curry?
Sunday roast.
And beer or cocktail?
I'll go cocktail.
Yes!
I like
I'm
that.
so happy that you said cocktail. I really wanted there to be like a bit of a dark horse of the night. And
Yeah.
what is your favourite cocktail?
My favourite cocktail would be, I don't know, anything with sort of white rum, coconutty.
So pina colada.
Pina colada, yes, pina colada.
And that's a good song as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It is the way you sing it. Yes.